How's it going? My name is RoShawn C. Evans. I am here at the Harris County Courthouse, about to appear in court for failure to register. My case started 20 years ago when I was 17 years old, hanging out, being a kid, thinking I knew more about life than what I did. And I chose to hang out with a female 1 year and 4 months younger than me that I had no idea that snuck out of her home. Nothing happened. Never, ever in life. We touched each other mutually. We attempted to have sex, but we didn't. Never have sex ever in life. That night, she did end up having sex with someone else in the house that was consensual as well, and she was being grown just like we wanted to be. You know, everybody wanted to be grown. Ultimately, by the time she went back home and snuck back in,
yeah, sure they will.
She got in trouble, and one thing led to another. With her mom tripping out, I don't know what actually took place in that house, but I know the next morning from her sneaking out, the police was looking for me for kidnapping. And then the charge quickly changed from kidnapping to rape, to me going to court signing a plea deal for touching a minor. They said since we mutually touched each other, and she were 16 and under, and I was 17, then she don't have the right to consent to anything without her parents' consent, and therefore I touched a minor, even though we were in the same age bracket of 1 year and 4 months apart. At the age of 17, I signed a plea deal. It should have been, my attorney told me before I signed, that it would be 36 months probation, 6 months ankle monitor, and before the judge read off my sentence of the 36 months probation, 6 months ankle monitor, he said, "Did you tell your client he would have to register?" My attorney bent down and told me I would have to tell the police where I live for the next 10 years. That was 10 years ago. And I've been on the registry for 20 years now. So I should have been off 10 years ago. I'm 10 years overdue. I was sentenced the day before my 18th birthday, and they put it on my adult record. And in Texas, they do not refuse to let me go. So I am here at the Harris County Courthouse 20 years later, after I should have been done with a case at the age of 27 from a case that shouldn't have been a case, because we are in the same age bracket, and I didn't sneak out the house. She snuck out the house. I didn't have a curfew. She had a curfew. I didn't have the angry parent. She had the angry parent. But I, RoShawn C. Evans, is the one dealing with this. And it looked like I'm going to be dealing with this for the rest of my life. And I'm not understanding why. But I'm here, you know, for a failure to register. And my failure to register is failure to tell my school that I was on the registry. Now, I was registered with the city and the state, but I didn't go and tell the school police. And that was a new stipulation. I've never had a stipulation like that, or heard about a stipulation to where I had to check in with the state as well as my school. You know, as long as the school was reported, everything should have been good, but and it's not a secret with me. You know, I've written books, you know, 2 books actually, about my situation, explaining how I got on the registry and to begin with, and the troubles that follow me and have been following me now for over half my life. These books that I wrote, I sell them all over campus. You know, all the doctors and the deans and the students, everybody got my book. They read my book. They allow me to talk on campus about my story. I'm always talking on campus about my story. Even the HCCPD bought my book. They have my book. And it was no big deal until one day I got into a non-violent altercation with another student, and somebody called the police, and one of the officers, when they looked up my record, I don't know who exactly made the call, but somebody that didn't receive my book, didn't get my book, don't know who I am, decided to kick me out of school. But it was temporary, you know, like, well, let's go ahead, kick him out for a moment because this is a serious charge, they say. Until we figure out what's going on, then we'll allow him to come back to school. But in the meantime of me being kicked out of school, I was actually interning right here at this courthouse for one of the judges. And while I was interning and kicked out of school, the sheriff's department got wind that I was kicked out of school for failure to register, and they actually came up to the courthouse that I was interning in while I was in the judge's chambers talking to the judge, and put me in handcuffs at the courthouse and walked me through the courthouse to take me to jail for failure to register. One of the most embarrassing moments ever in my life. You know, like, I could not believe it. You know, I never imagined myself being incarcerated or locked up for anything in life ever again outside of a peaceful protest. And I found myself behind bars for failure to register from a case that happened over 20 years ago, from a case that should not have placed me on the registry because of a female 1 year and 4 months younger than me sneaking out to come hang out with me. But yet, I am still here dealing with this. They told me I should be done with everything in 10 years. I am 10 years overdue. And now I have caught another violation on a failure to register in Texas because they refused to release me from the registry. So I am at court. I'm about to go upstairs. I'm gonna see what they're gonna do with me. I might get a reset. But let's go upstairs and see what they do. So I went to court on my failure to register. I am out of court now. Looks like I have a reset until January 17th, which is a Friday. And I'm thankful for my court date to being on a Friday because I am still a college student. I am going to school for political science. I did just graduate last May at HCC. That's the school that initially kicked me out until they figured out what was going on. But now I'm a student over at UHD, furthering my education for political science. And it's like, wow, you know, I am actually in trouble and going to court for furthering my education as a sex offender. That shouldn't be labeled a sex offender. You know, but yet I am labeled. I have the label, and it was like I was forced into the label by a plea deal. And if I didn't sign the plea deal that was offered to me, which was that 36 months probation, 6 months ankle monitor, and 10 years to register, which is now 20 years, going on 21 years to register, I would have ultimately got 15 years in prison. And, you know, as a 17-year-old, I couldn't see myself doing that time. I couldn't see myself doing half that time or a quarter of that time, a day of that time. You know, I didn't want to do any time, you know, for anything. So I ended up conforming to the deal. And now, you know, what I thought I was doing as a kid, which was signing for my freedom, actually, that signature on that paper is haunting me for the rest of my life. And I can't believe it, you know. Like, when will this humiliation end? Again, I was 17 years old, doing what I wanted to do in life as a kid, hanging out with a female 1 year and 4 months younger than me that snuck out of her home, and I got in trouble for it. And this wasn't like, this is a lifetime punishment of humiliation on the account of a female 1 year and 4 months younger than me sneaking out of her home. And it's like, where is that fair? How is this fair? Why am I still dealing with this situation 20 years later? This is something I will never, ever understand. But it's happened. It's happening to me. And I'm going to do everything in my power to try to make sure that one day laws will change when it comes to the sex offender, kids. I'm going to do everything I can to make a change. So, I'm fighting. I'm recording these videos just so people can see my struggle, see what I have to go through. You know, I go to school in political science just so I can contribute to political change. You know, when I graduate in political science, when I stop there, I will be going to law school. You know, and I understand I may not ever in life be able to practice because of this situation right here. But even with the situation, you know, even if I'm unable to practice, it doesn't matter because I can still use my law degree to influence. So, any and everything that I can do to change the system the way it is now, that's what I'll do. That's what I am doing. So these videos is for people with a lack of understanding of how certain things work, how they can actually get an understanding of what's taking place, you know, what's going on, how people are affected by the law in general, you know, whether they did something to be put on probation or parole or registration, rather they were sucked into the system because they was in the right place at the wrong time, a minority, a foreigner. You know, I just want people to understand how these laws affect people and trying to show people where the laws should be changed, you know. So I hope the people that watch my videos, I really do hope that you get something out of my videos, you know. For the people that watch my videos and have the power to actually change laws, if you are a judge or a lawyer, you know, if you are a legislator, you know, please do something for the people because it is highly needed. The prisons and the jails are consumed with more, I mean, it is disproportionately black and brown. Like when I was in the courtroom today, like every last person in the courtroom going to court today with me were black and brown. Like it was literally only one person in there that was a white boy. And that white boy, I don't even know if he was white. I think he was Anglo. Like, you can't tell me the only people that commit crimes are black and brown. You can't tell me that white people don't do no wrong. And the only white people in the courtroom besides that one Anglo were the lawyers and the prosecutors and the bailiff. Those were the white people. And if you don't see something wrong with that picture, I don't know what to tell you. I'll see you on my next court date.